Let the record reflect we have reconvened with all members virtually present. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. We have no minutes for approval tonight. So actually, before we go to that, I do want to recognize three of our longtime residents that we lost since our last meeting, and recognize with a moment of silence. Kay Schaller, longtime resident, passed away on June 7th at the age of 94. She was born in West New York on March 26, 1927. Bachelor's of Arts from New York University. She had an equally deep love for the arts as she had for people and nurtured everyone's unique value. She was a lifelong writer. In addition to her poetry and short stories, she inspired many people with handwritten, customized verse over many decades. I personally enjoyed all the handwritten notes that she would send me over the years. Kay married her husband, the late David Schaller, on November 25th, 1950. The couple was married for 60 years and raised 4 daughters. She remained active in the Madison community, in particular the Senior Center, where she served 27 years as head of the Telephone Reassurance Committee and was on the Senior Citizen Advisory Committee and many other assignments. Prior to that, she was employed as an administrator at New Jersey Ballet and as an English teacher. She leaves behind her daughters, Jennifer, Lauren, Kathy, Amy, her grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. And then on June 6th, Rose Giro died at the age of 95. She was the first of 3 children born to Carmen and Rose Picone, lifelong resident of Madison. After graduating from Madison High School, she married Anthony Giro in 1944 at the height of World War II. Soon after being married, the couple welcomed their son, Anthony Giro Jr., who was raised and still lives in Madison. She was a cook at both Lucy D. Anthony and Green Village Road School, so she probably cooked for me way back when at Green Village Road School. Second only to her love of children and family was her love of cooking. You couldn't find her in the kitchen. You might find her outside in her yard, where she was an avid gardener. Predeceased by her husband, Anthony, in 1982, and her daughter, baby Donna Maria Giro, in 1946. Also, her sister, Natalie, and one brother, Andrew. She's survived by her son, Anthony Jr., and his wife, 3 cherished grandchildren, and 6 great-grandchildren. And then Thelma Sullivan, former longtime resident of Madison, died on May 23rd. She was 99. Born in December 31st, 1921, in Woodstown, New Jersey, to the late Reverend James and Phyllis Ellis. Family relocated to Madison, where Thelma and her 2 sisters, Clementine and Lillian, were raised on Walnut Street, attended the Madison Public Schools, graduated Madison High School in 42, received her BS in education from Wilberforce University, married to David Sullivan, and they were longtime residents of Madison on Cedar Street. She was a very popular home economics teacher in schools in Newark until she retired, and she was loved by generations of her students. She had a career of over 30 years in the Newark public school system. And after retiring, she volunteered at Central Avenue School. She was an active member of the Bethel AME Church and was part of the gospel choir, taught Sunday school, and was also an usher for many years. She loved music. In addition to singing in the church choir, she was a member of the Madison Drum and Bugle Corps during the 1940s and participated in many marching band events. And she left Madison in 2001 to be closer to her family in Bowie, Maryland, and was living a very full life up until her last days at the age of 99. She was predeceased by her sisters Clementine and Johnson and Lillian Harris. So let's take a moment to remember Kay Schaller, Rose Giro, and Thelma Sullivan, and let us pass our thoughts on to the families and friends they leave behind. Thank you. And as I noted, we have no minutes for approval, so welcome all on this stormy night. Just to reinforce that we are doing our virtual meetings through the summer and plan to reopen the council chambers where I'm sitting right now in September. So it's very nice on a stormy night that you can be attending our meeting without having to worry about the thunderstorm passing through right at this moment. And as we know, today is Flag Day, so it's great to be sitting here with a flag behind me, and great to remember what that symbolizes for our country. And talking about our country, on 10 a.m. Memorial Day, there's a gathering at James Park to remember those who gave their lives fighting for our freedom. As always, the annual event was coordinated by the Madison Farm Park American Legion, Chapter 43. And next year, we look forward to the return of the parade. Another event that I got to do virtually was judge the Kings Road School 4th and 5th grade talent show, one of the most difficult jobs that any mayor can have. Also got to present some of the awards virtually, so I congratulate all the participants. That's not easy to get in front of a camera and show off your talent, but it was very impressive, and I was honored to do that. Also on Friday, this past Friday, we recognized Violence Awareness Day in Madison with a tie-in of orange ribbons on lampposts in downtown. I was out of town, but I want to thank the council members who joined in with the recognition of that event in my absence. And also this weekend saw activities around Hidden Figures. It's great to see those banners recognize those of color who have made a difference in Madison. And while I grew up with many of the families that were recognized on those banners, it just was great to read the stories behind them. Some that I knew and some that I didn't. And also, it was great to hear this being recognized on NPR. So thanks to all. Maybe we'll hear a little bit more from Deb Cohen on Hidden Figures. I want to thank the committee for all their work on doing that. And also something we may hear from Councilwoman Austria-Bailey. On Thursday, we dedicated the sculpture Soaring Spirit in memory of Barbara Carey, a former member of the Garden Club. If you haven't stopped by the Rose Garden, please do so. This is right at the corner of Kings Road and Green Avenue, steps away from our great downtown. Just walk through there, as I mentioned the other day, and you feel like you're in a different world, even though the train will quickly remind you that you are in downtown Madison. But that garden represents the great work of people like Barbara Carey and all of the Garden Club. So Austria and all those, thank you for making that happen. And just a point of order for tonight, the opt-out ordinance related to cannabis, we had mentioned last meeting would be introduced tonight. We are still working on that, the ordinance, and it will be on the agenda for the June 28th meeting for introduction and scheduled for the hearing in the first meeting in July. And I want to recognize the employee of the month for June, Magdalena Moderano from the Utility Billing Department, selected for our employee of the month for several weeks. She has single-handedly managed the operations of the Utility Billing Department, along with the usual daily tasks of processing payments, billing, and customer service. Magdalena has stepped up and took on additional responsibilities while her supervisor was on medical leave. And we have an anniversary. Bob Vogel will celebrate 20 years for the borough on June 18th. So if you see him, please congratulate him. And I have a proclamation to present. We have Pastor Craig Dunn. I don't see him.
Not look like he's joined the mayor.
Okay. I will present this. This is for Saturday, June 19th to Juneteenth. Whereas on June 19th, 1865, 2.5 years after President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, Union soldiers led by Major General Gordon Granger arrived at Galveston, Texas, with the news that the Civil War was over and that enslaved people were now free. And whereas with its origin in Texas in 1866, Juneteenth is the oldest nationally celebrated commemoration of the ending of slavery in the United States. Since then, Juneteenth has been celebrated in communities across the United States, providing an opportunity to mark the emancipation of enslaved people. And whereas Juneteenth continues to be the most recognized African-American holiday observance, also known as Emancipation Day, Emancipation Celebration, Freedom Day, and Dundun Day. And whereas Juneteenth symbolizes for many African Americans what the 4th of July does for all Americans: liberty, freedom, and justice for all. And whereas Juneteenth is a day for us to reflect on the suffering caused by slavery and to commit to being allies of our African American friends, family, and neighbors. And whereas Juneteenth commemorates the strength and resolve of all African Americans throughout our history and serves as an opportunity to celebrate the rich and numerous contributions of African Americans. And whereas Juneteenth is an opportunity for Madison residents of all races, nationalities, and religions to acknowledge the painful history and lasting systemic impact of slavery and racial injustice in the United States. Now, therefore, I, Robert H. Conley, the mayor of the Borough of Madison, on behalf of the governing body, hereby recognize Saturday, June 19th, 2021 as Juneteenth to acknowledge the historical significance of the day and recommit to working towards the dismantling of institutionalized racism. Thank you for allowing that, and that we will share that proclamation. And we now will move on to reports from committees. Public Safety, Council President Byrne.
Thank you, Mayor. From the Fire Department, Madison, Morristown, and Cedar Knolls recently completed 4 days of trench rescue training. Firefighters worked in an 8-foot deep trench to remove a mannequin that was buried in simulated trench collapse. They utilized specialized equipment and technical skills to secure the trench walls from caving in so they could safely remove the mannequin. This training was made possible with assistance from the Madison Police Department, DPW, Water Department, and the Hanover Township Sewer Department, who provided their vacuum truck for the class. Also from the Fire Department, on Tuesday afternoon, June 8th, a fierce lightning storm came through Madison. 5 properties in town sustained lightning strikes, 3 of which were private residences. The 3 residential properties were all struck at the same time, within minutes of each other, requiring Madison to receive mutual aid assistance from Chatham Borough and Green Village Fire Departments. The 3 homes sustained electrical surges that damaged some appliances and electronics within the house. The 2 municipal properties that were struck sustained damage to our radio communication system, electronic equipment used to maintain the water levels in the municipal water tax, and some security cameras. All damaged equipment has been repaired and or replaced, except for the radio equipment, which our radio vendor is working on. And from the Police Department, on May 28th, Madison Police Acting Chief John Misha met with representatives of the Madison Alliance on Racial Equity for a meet and greet to continue to build on relationships with community stakeholders. Beginning June 14th, the Madison Police Department and the Community Policing Unit has reinstituted the Bike Helmet Rewards Program. Madison officers will be rewarding juveniles 16 years and younger when found in compliance with bike helmet usage and laws. Officers will be handing out tickets entitling them to a 1 free junior soft serve ice cream with a topping from McCool's. This program is sponsored by DeFalco's Towing. And finally, during this month, Madison Police Department Community Policing Unit assisted the Madison Boy Scouts Troop 7 and Cub Scouts with a bike and hike tour of Madison and Chatham. The officers joined the Scouts on pedal bicycles during the 25-mile ride to ensure safety, in addition to providing information to the Scouts along the bike and hike. The community policing also assisted local Girl Scouts with a bike radio behind headquarters. That's my report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And Finance Borough Clerk, Ms. Bailey.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. A draft of the audit has been completed, and the audit committee met today with the staff from Ymca to review the document. The committee of volunteers had some great recommendations and suggestions, which will be incorporated into the final document. And then once those edits are made, the chief financial officer will forward the document to the council, and we will be at the next council meeting, or looking at it at the next council meeting. And then the state and federal government have finalized the amount of funds that Madison will receive as part of the American Rescue Plan. I'm happy to say that the borough will receive $1,847,818.66. And please remember that during our budget presentations, the borough revenues in 2020 were short by almost $1 million. primarily due to the loss of parking fees, court revenue, and a reduction in interest on bank balances. The $1.8 million in the American Rescue Plan funds will be split into 2 payments, with half being received this year and half the following year. And there are a number of forms and calculations that the finance department will have to perform in the coming weeks as part of the process to receive the funds. Administration will then come to council in the coming weeks with their suggestions on how these funds can be used and perhaps should be used here in Madison. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And Public Works and Engineering, Mr. Hoover.
Thank you, Mayor. For engineering, the Hartley Dodge Memorial Plaza, Merrill and Garaguso mobilized and began the removal of granite plaza block on Monday, June 7th. Several meetings were held with the general contractor and architect, and reasonable progress is being made. Please note, all general public access to the municipal building is via the West Wing courtroom ramp for the duration of the 6-month project. Cifelli General Construction completed tree removal work at Anthony Drive and Wayne Boulevard and has completed curb and driveway replacement, topsoil, and seed on the north side of the roads. A weekly status report is available on RoseNet if you would like to see that. If there are specific concerns about the construction work, please either contact the police department or the engineer. Micropave Incorporated completed crack sealing work on Noe Avenue, Union Avenue, Essex Place, Union Hill Road, Kings Road, and Winding Way this past week. And they completed Barnesdale, Crestview Avenue, Lawrence Road, and Sinclair Terrace. Several interesting public hearings continue being reviewed by the Madison Land Use Boards. Please stay tuned via the website. Department of Public Works, DPW. The new energy efficient front end loader with special leaf attachment was delivered to DPW. 25% of the purchase price was funded by New Jersey DEP Equipment Modernization Grant. This new equipment will help expedite the leaf pickup process throughout town. A less energy efficient loader was permanently decommissioned as part of the grant eligibility process. The snow loader purchased from the town of Kearney at a deep discount will be delivered to DPW this week. This new equipment will be a huge help dealing with large snowstorms and cleaning the streets in the downtown commercial area. DPW assisted the Madison Fire Department's confined space rescue training program at the Loveland Pump Station by excavating trenches for the participants. DPW completed the 2021 tree planting replacement program. 105 trees were added to the Madison tree canopy. For recreation, this week it will be the final week of the spring sports schedule as recreation transitions into summer programming starting Monday, June 21st. Despite all of the challenges posed by COVID-19, all of the groups conducted successful seasons with minimal modifications and disruptions. Thanks to all of the volunteers and staff that work so tirelessly to provide Madison children with enjoyable sports and recreation activities during a very challenging time. For more information on the aforementioned summer programming, please review the page entitled Program Info and Registration on the Recreation Department page on RoseNet. In addition to several other programs, we will once again host Madison Soccer Club's various camp offerings, which include 4 separate full week programs. A draft version of the fall schedule has been generated and the primary programs aim to be finalized by July 1st. Thereafter, remaining time slots will be made available to various rental and third-party groups. As always, please contact Zach Ellis at recreation@rosenet.org to reserve space. And finally, work continues to improve our facilities. The most recent completion improvements of note were the full replacement of the outfield fencing at Lucy D. Myrtle at a cost of $11,650 and replacement of the portion of the Dodge Field basketball court and playground fencing at cost of $3,580. Several additional facility improvement projects are being evaluated for this fall as well. For the Environmental Commission, the Madison Environmental Commission held a successful milkweed plant giveaway on June 10th. Milkweed is the only plant that monarch butterflies use to lay their eggs. Monarch caterpillars also depend on milkweed leaves for food. Madison Environmental Commission has joined with members of Sustainable Madison, the Shade Tree Management Board, and the Garden Club of Madison to form the Friends of Drew Forest. The group's mission is to support a recent borough resolution in favor of conserving the biodiverse Drew Forest. A petition launched by Friends of Drew Forest has so far gathered more than 2,400 science signatures. Madison Environmental Commission heard presentations from Drew students who worked on climate consulting projects with 4 Madison businesses under the direction of Professor Alex Bact this past spring 2021. Specifically, they worked with the Ymca on a preliminary cost benefit analysis of new HVAC system at Kirby Center, Crowley's Cupcakes on carbon offsets potential through cupcake purchases to fund local tree plantings, Harvest Bistro on the potential energy savings with either updated appliances or solar panels, and Daddy's Maddie's Barbecue on the use of biodegradable plastics or composting, as well as development of a food pantry with Drew students' input. MEC and the Shade Tree Management will be following up with these businesses and hopefully expanding through the chamber to help them advance the projects to work towards supporting and building a greener business community for Madison. Shade Tree Management. The Shade Tree Board will have their monthly meeting this Thursday at 8 a.m. Topics to be discussed are completion of the spring tree planting program, new street trees on Park Avenue and Madison Avenue, which are 2 major entrances to Madison, have made a substantial difference. The feasibility of fall tree planting program to meet outstanding resident requests, initiating the board's annual windshield survey, where every Madison street is traveled, looking for dead and dying trees needing pruning, and potential new planting sites. The role of the Shade Tree Board in helping preserve the Drew Forest will also be discussed. That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. And now on to Community Affairs, Ms. Cohen.
Thank you, Mayor. Before I get to the report about the DDC, I will give just a brief summary of the Hidden Figures project. It occurred this weekend where there were several events, some for the families represented and then also for the community to enjoy. Shout out to Lisa Ellis, Chris Pfeiffer, Melanie Tomaszewski, and the committee who helped create those banners and make sure that they were going to look right. Friday's night event for the families was well attended and a great time was had by all. Thank you to Luis Martinez, who played guitar and got the crowd going, Charlotte and Libby Nebris, who performed a short ballet snippet, and the Bethel AME Church Choir, who got everyone up and dancing. The Saturday community event was a great success with a steady stream of people coming in and out throughout the day to look at the artwork. There were 2 great panels by some of the families who talked about Madison when they lived here, as well as questions from the crowd that was there. The event was closed with a performance by Madison High School students who, under Jackie Radcliffe's direction, sang, danced, and recognized these families from Madison. Thank you to the Board of Education, especially Dan Ross, for the support of the project, but especially the teachers who made the time in an already crazy year to make this happen. Of course, thank you to the Borough for all of their support. If you want more information or to donate to future projects, please visit hiddenfiguresmadison.org for a virtual tour of the event and more information. In addition, we look forward to continuing this project, highlighting various people throughout the history of Madison. If you would like to participate and help, please reach out through the website. We're always looking for volunteers. It was a pleasure to work with the rest of the committee, Kenesha Tucker, Danielle Nebris, and Deb Starker from the METC. DDC, great news. Bottle Hill Day is scheduled for Saturday, October 2nd. Planning has begun. If you would like to be an event sponsor or to participate as a vendor, please email ddc@rosenet.org. The farmers market is in full swing at Dodge Field. This Thursday at the farmers market will be the 50-50 and Tricky Tray raffle during the market. If you need 50-50 tickets, you can hit up anybody on the DDC itself. If you haven't bought your passport, it's $50 at Gary's and gets you Tricky Tray sheets, as well as you get stamps. You can get Tricky Tray sheets you can redeem during the farmers market. Ladies Night is being planned by the Chamber for September, and the car show, the Chamber PBA number 92 car show, is being planned again in conjunction with Bottle Hill Day. And the Madison Community Arts Center has events booked going forward, and we thank them for the support with Hidden Figures. And they are slowly booking up as restrictions get relaxed, and we look forward to many great events there. Thank you.
Thank you. And now utilities, Ms. Ehrlich.
Thank you, Mayor. From the electric department, American Electrical Testing, who is a specialty subcontractor retained by the borough, has worked with the Madison Electric Department to complete the first phase of our upgrade project, replacing circuit relays at James Park Substation. They're also providing preventative maintenance at services at both of our substations as part of a 3-year service contract. Madison Golf Course is putting in 3-phase electric service. To support this, the electric department replaced the existing utility pole and hung 250 feet of new wire. And utility planning is in progress for the Lincoln Place development and Cook Avenue parking lot reconstruction. So reflecting some more on these storms we've heard about tonight, on June 3rd, the electric department was called out to a broken utility pole on Green Avenue at Shumpike Road. The pole had been damaged during the storm the night before, and the department replaced the pole and transferred the equipment. Also, as a result of the storm, the department discovered and removed a large broken branch hanging over the power lines in Morris Place, and they were called out to remove a large broken tree leaning on the power lines on Green Village Road. The electric department cut down the tree and DPW assisted with the chipping. Just a few days later, on June 9th at 8:15 in the morning, the electric department was called out for a power outage in the Rosemont Avenue section, where a squirrel had tripped 2 fuses. Full power was restored by 8:49 a.m., barely half an hour later. So as always, we residents of Madison say it is really wonderful to live in a town that has its own electric department and can provide this high level of service and responsiveness. So thank you to those crews. The water department reports that the 2021 water quality report has been completed and mailed to all Madison residents, so please keep an eye out for that. The water department installed a new tap and service for a new home being constructed on Maple Avenue. And the water department also assisted the fire department and neighboring fire departments with their combined trench rescue training by digging a trench 8 feet deep by 36 feet long. So great teamwork there. Reminder from the water department to please remember to have your electric lawn water sprinkler rain sensors checked or installed to help save water and not irrigate lawns on rainy days. Please refrain from watering between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. when 50% of the water is lost due to evaporation during sunlight hours. And finally, please reduce your zone times to a minimum because the water that we use to have a green lawn is everyone's drinking water. That's all for utilities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And health, Mr. Landrigan.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, some encouraging news in regards to COVID. COVID-19 activity in New Jersey remains at some of the lowest levels that we've seen this year. As of June 10th, Madison reports 874 total confirmed cases with no new positive cases in the past 7 days. As COVID-19 restrictions continue to be lifted, vaccination efforts remain key to return to full normalcy. Morris County was the first New Jersey county to achieve the goal of 70% of adults vaccinated. As of Friday, 70% of Madison adults have been vaccinated, with 80% receiving at least 1 dose. Vaccines are readily available on same-day appointments or walk-in basis at many locations. While not offering walk-in appointments, the Madison Health Department has a number of upcoming adult vaccine clinics using the Johnson & Johnson's single-dose vaccine. And finally, visit Rosenet for continuing updates on New Jersey's vaccination program and locations. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And now we move on to communications and petitions. Any communications and petitions?
Yes, Mayor. Council received an email dated June the 2nd from resident David Steckity of Ferndale regarding planning board review of the mosque at 120 Madison Avenue. An email dated June the 4th from resident Tony Mazaka of Main Street regarding the handicap parking spaces on Lincoln Place. Another email dated June the 10th from resident David Steckity regarding the outside opposition at planning board meetings, and an email dated June the 11th from resident David Steckity regarding Corporal Stephanie Aquino's Facebook page.
Thank you very much. And now we move on to the first two invitations for discussion. This is limited to our agenda discussion item, which is the Green Acres Urban Planning Initiative Program. Dodgefield Playground will be applying for a grant. You can make comment on that, or you may comment on the following resolutions. All the ordinances that are listed for hearing, obviously you can comment when we have those hearings. And if you want to comment on it, ordinance listed for introduction, you'll be able to comment on that in the next round. Just so people understand though, comment wise, and you can plan accordingly. There's a ordinance related to changing the zone for amending Chapter 195 Borough Code entitled Land Development Permit Multifamily Residential Use in the U Zone, which is the University Zone. This is limited to what is known as Copper Beach and is just changing the zone from university to permit what is there existing. And we'll explain that in more detail when we introduce that ordinance. And these are the following resolutions you may comment on. Resolution designated Kevin O'Keefe as acting qualified purchasing agent. That's extending his position there. Resolution 161 is ratifying salary increase of confidential employees that are excluded from union participation. This puts them on par with their union comrades. Resolution 162, resolution authorizing contract revision with the Land Conservancy for open space services, and this is related to preservation of parts of Drew University campus for open space. Resolution 163 is the Green Acres program for Dodgefield Playground, which we'll be discussing shortly, and this is the amount of $500,000 to fund that project. Resolution 164 is renewing liquor licenses in the Borough of Madison for 2021-2022 license term, both consumption and distribution. Resolution 165 is being pulled. This was for online auction, and that will come back as that one is no longer part of the co-op. Resolution 166 is accepting a donation of bicycle from Madison Police Department from the Thursday Morning Club from the generosity. Greatly appreciate that. Resolution 167 ratifying the appointment of Marco Nadal to summer intern position farmers market at the rate of $15 an hour. Resolution 165 is authorizing the Friday evening downtown concert series on Green Village Road in front of the museum. Resolution 169 is ratifying the appointment of Dylan Pfeiffer and Ethan Green as summer interns at the rate of $13 per hour. Resolution 170 is appointing Michael Strachey to the position of summer intern for Environmental Commission at the rate of $12.50 an hour. Resolution 171 is ratifying appointment of intern Sarah Escamilla and Natalia Jimenowski, part-time unpaid interns for the farmers market. Resolution 172 is authorizing raffle license for the Shakespeare Theater of New Jersey. Resolution 173 is awarding the bid for the purchase of new unused transformers or our stock is not to exceed $106,725.95, funded but through Ordinance 31-2020. Resolution 174 is awarding the contract to Joe Caruso Landscaper for construction of steps and railings in Summerhill Park, not to exceed $32,400, and is funded through the Open Space Recreation Historic Preservation Trust. Resolution 176 for purchase of municipal parks tractor, awarding the bid to U.S. Municipal Supply Inc. of Huntington, Pennsylvania for the amount of $1,562. And this is funded through Ordinance 39-2020. Resolution 177 is purchase of cable coming from Franklin Griffith, not to exceed $63,000, funded through Ordinance 31-2020. Resolution 178 is authorizing membership in the 2021-2022 Employee Wellness Program through the Madison area YMCA. And this is a continuation of the program to keep our employees healthy. You may comment on any of those ordinances. And as always, the way to do that is you click on raise your hand. If you're online, if you're on the phone, it's *9. Try to keep your comments to 3 minutes, but we will give you a 1 minute grace and ask you to stop when you are recognized. We'll ask you to stop at 4 minutes. When you are recognized, first things you need to state is your name, your address, and then the resolution or the agenda discussion item you're commenting on. Again, if you want to comment on something else, please hold those comments until later in the meeting. And with that, we'll bring up Kathleen Cacaval.
Hi, I have Kathleen Cacavalli, 82 Central Avenue. I just have two quick questions, if appropriate. I'm just curious about what the two summer interns, Dylan Pfeiffer and Ethan Green, will be doing. And the second one is, I just wonder where the steps and railings are going at Summerhill Park.
Okay, we will I'll allow our CFO address the first one, and Osprey can take care of the second one, but part of the trails that went in there previously. Jim? Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
real quick, the interns are going to be working in the construction department and in the engineering department and at the farmer's market.
Thank you very much. And Osprey on the grant
Right.
or the
The trail.
yes.
It's just a part of the trail that had been shown on our map to the trail county committee. And it's right at the top of the driveway. By the kiosk is the entrance, and it's a very steep area, and we are installing steps and railing there to connect to the rest of the trail.
Thank you very much. And seeing no other hands raised, I close this part of the meeting, and we now move on to agenda discussions, and hand it back to Osprey again.
So we have basically one playground in Madison. It's at Dodge Field. It is old, it's tired, and it's not handicap accessible. And we have an opportunity from the Department of Environmental Protection, their Green Acres Urban Parks Initiative, to apply for a $500,000 grant to support the construction of a new handicapped accessible playground at Dodge Field. And the grant application requires a hearing, which is what we're doing right now, and an authorizing resolution from the council. And we've had several letters of support from parents in town saying that this is a great, concept, and it will really expand the use of the park for a lot of children. If you have any questions.
Any questions from the council? Deb?
Question, comment, I guess. I'm assuming that not just handicapped accessible, but it'll be the playground in the style that is more accessible to those with special needs as well, which will allow them to integrate with everybody else easier than they can now.
I'm assuming that's the case. Yeah.
That's generally how it is. I just want to, I guess it was really more, that's how I knew that I've seen it was more to let people know it wasn't just wheelchair handicapped accessible, that it's accessible. It's really accessible to all playground rather than.
It's adding to the accessibility right now by giving other children with special needs, the chance.
And I am 100% for it. The playground, my oldest is 19 and it hasn't been updated since him, and I'm betting probably even longer than that.
Right. It's our only playground, which is it's too bad. We need more.
And it's certainly a very popular spot.
Mm-hmm.
And as this is a hearing, I will ask if there's no other comments or questions from the council. I will ask if anyone in the public wish to comment or ask questions on this resolution that will request application from Green Acres. Anyone wishing to comment, please raise your hand. Seeing none, I close the hearing. Okay, this will be resolution 163, which will be part of our consent agenda, which I've already outlined. Thank you very much. We now move on to ordinances for hearing. Will the clerk please read the statement?
The ordinance is scheduled for hearing were introduced by title and passed on first reading at the regular meeting of the council held on May the 24th, 2021. They were posted and filed according to law, and copies were made available to the general public requesting same.
All right, just so the public understands, we will be doing a hearing for ordinance 21, 2021, And then we will combine the hearing for ordinances 22 through 26 because they are all appropriating money from the general capital improvement fund. So they'll be able to comment on individual ordinances in that group or the group as a whole if you're interested. I call up ordinances for second reading. Ask the clerk to read ordinance by title, ordinance 21-2021.
Ordinance of the Borough of Madison appropriating $50,000 from the Electric Capital Improvement Fund for signalization repairs and improvements.
I open the hearing on ordinance 21. Anyone wishing to comment, please raise your hand. Seeing none, I close the hearing.
Mayor, I move ordinance 21-2021.
A second.
Any council discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Miss Bailey,
Yes.
Miss Byrne,
Yes.
Mr. Hoover,
Yes.
Miss Cohen,
Yes.
Miss Hurlick,
yes,
Mr. Landrigan.
yes,
I declare ordinance 21-2021 adopted and finally passed and ask the clerk to publish notice there in newspaper, file the ordinance, and I can't talk today, and file the ordinance in accordance with the law. And now we will go to, we'll read the ordinance by title for ordinances 22-20 through 26.
Ordinance 22, 2021, ordinance of the Borough of Madison appropriating $50,000 from the General Capital Improvement Fund for work related to sports field repairs and trail restoration. Ordinance 23, 2021 is ordinance of the Borough of Madison appropriating $37,500 from the General Capital Improvement Fund for the purchase of firefighter turnout gear and the rebuild of engine number 2 fire pump. Ordinance 24, 2021, the ordinance of the Borough of Madison appropriating $380,000 from the General Capital Improvement Fund for the purchase of trucks and accessories for the Public Works Department. And ordinance 25, 2021 is ordinance of the Borough of Madison appropriating $18,000 from the General Capital Improvement Fund for the purchase of a light tower, welder, and accessories for the Department of Public Works. And ordinance 26, 2021 is the ordinance of the Borough of Madison appropriating $50,000 from the General Capital Improvement Fund for the purchase of material handling bins and related materials for the Department of Public Works.
I now open the hearing for ordinances 22 through 26, 2021. Anyone wishing to comment on individual ordinances or all 5 as a whole, please raise your hand. Kathleen Cacavalli, you are now up.
Kathleen Cacavalli, still at 82 Central Avenue. And I'm just curious if the $32,400 for Resolution 174 is part of the $50,000 in this ordinance or in addition to that? For the $50,000 for ordinance 22.
That is separate. Yep, the 32 is coming out of open space, recreation and historic preservation, and this is in addition to that. Anyone else wishing to comment on ordinances 22 through 26, please raise your hand now. I now close the hearing for these 5 ordinances, and now ordinance 22-2021, which is appropriating $50,000 for work-related sports field repair and trail restoration. May I have a motion?
Mayor, I move ordinance 22-2021.
Second.
Any council discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Miss Bailey,
Yes.
Miss Byrne,
Yes.
Mr. Hoover,
Yes.
Miss Cohen.
Yes.
Miss Ehrlich,
yes,
Mr. Landrigan.
yes,
I declare ordinance 22-2021 adopted and finally passed and ask the clerk to publish notice there of newspaper and file the ordinance according to the law. Ordinance 23-2021, which is appropriating $37,500 from general capital for the purchase of firefighter turnout gear and rebuild of engine 2 fire pump. May I have a motion, please?
Mayor, I move ordinance 23-2021.
Mayor, I second the motion.
Any council discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Miss Bailey,
Yes.
Miss Byrne,
Yes.
Mr. Hoover,
Yes.
Ms. Cohen,
Yes.
Ms. Ehrlich,
yes,
Mr. Landrigan.
yes,
I declare ordinance 23-2021 adopted and finally passed. I ask the clerk to publish notice there in the newspaper and file the ordinance in accordance with the law. Ordinance 24-2021, which is appropriating $380,000 from general capital for purchase of trucks, accessories for the Department of Public Works. May I have a motion?
Mayor, I move ordinance 24-2021.
Second.
Any council discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Bailey,
yes,
Ms. Byrne,
yes,
Mr. Hoover,
Yes,
Ms. Cohen.
Yeah.
Ms. Ehrlich,
yes,
Mr. Landrigan.
yes,
I declare ordinance 24-2021 adopted and finally passed, and I ask the clerk to publish notice thereof in the newspaper and file the ordinance in accordance with the law. Excuse me, ordinance 25-2021, which is appropriating $18,000 from general capital improvement fund purchase of light tower welder accessories for Department of Public Works. May I have a motion, please?
Mayor, I move ordinance 25-2021.
Second.
Any councilors? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Bailey,
yes,
Ms. Byrne,
yes,
Mr. Hoover,
Yes,
Ms. Cohen, Ms. Ehrlich,
yes,
Mr. Landrigan.
yes,
I declare ordinance 25-2021 adopted and finally passed. I ask the clerk to publish notice thereof in the newspaper and file the ordinance in accordance with the law. Ordinance 26-2021, which is appropriating $50,000 general capital improvement fund for the purchase of materials and handling bins related to related materials for the Department of Public Works. I have a motion for ordinance 26. John, you're muted there.
Mayor, I move ordinance 26-2021.
I second.
Any council discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Bailey,
yes,
Ms. Byrne,
yes,
Mr. Hoover,
Yes,
Ms. Cohen,
Yes.
Ms. Ehrlich,
yes,
Mr. Landrigan.
yes,
I declare ordinance 26-2021 adopted and finally passed. I ask the clerk to publish notice thereof in the newspaper and file the ordinance according to the law. And now we're on to our second of the two invitations for discussion from the public. This is when you may comment on any topic. Again, the same rules apply. When you are recognized, please state your name, your address, and you may start your comments. And you please try to keep your comments to 3 minutes, but we will give you a 1 minute grace and cut you at 4. And no need to hold back on raise your hand. If you're, as soon as you're ready, just raise your hand and we can call you up so you don't lose your chance. Once I close the hearing, the discussion time, we cannot reopen. And Greg Arizumba, welcome.
Hello. I don't know if I'm on. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. You're on the air.
Perfect. Great. So hello, Mayor Connolly. Hello, all council members. I'm here as a representative of Troop 7, and I have a
Name and address, Greg.
yes, Craig Arizuma, 28 Albright Circle in Madison. And I have a statement of appreciation. Maureen mentioned a Boy Scout event that happened this Saturday, and I have a prepared statement that ahead of sending it to an excerpt to Acting Chief Misha and also to the Madison Eagle, I'd like to offer it to you so you get a gist of what we did. So Boy Scout Troop 7, chartered by St. Vincent Martyr Church, went on a 2-part bike and hike all around Madison this past Saturday. The event invited local Webelos Cub Scouts to attend the first 7.5-mile leg of the trek, and then, after returning to St. Vincent's, the Boy Scouts continued the venture with a second leg, which incorporated another 8 miles and a 2.5-mile hike, again returned to St. Vincent's. The event aimed to highlight the services in town, which may not be in the forefront of young minds, and to show them the importance of not just the services, but the people who make it all possible. We as a community are fortunate for their service, and the borough shines because of them. To that end, I am very grateful to all who attended, a pleasant group of 30, and were game to ride and to listen to some Madison facts and history of all sorts. The weather was cooperative, and our group was blessed to have Corporal Stephanie Aquino and Officer Andrew Morrow from the Madison Police Department ride along, safeguarding the group, with Sergeant Bart Glaude and Patrolman Pat Strafacci and Brett Smith assisting in the more challenging crossings at Park and Madison Aves in their patrol vehicles. This was all coordinated by Captain Joe Longo, whose wisdom in foreseeing the need of MPD's resources goes with a heartfelt thanks. They and Chatham Borough Officers Sergeant Michael Firmison and Patrolman Agnes Sizik all ensured our safety and made our time together successful by shouldering this critical traffic safety burden. For those who needed stop in traffic waiting for our group to cross, well, thanks go to you as well. The head of Madison Water Department, Foreman Tom DiBiase, also needs special compliments for taking personal time to speak to our group and show us the special nature that our water source means to us in Madison. In researching this exploration of Madison, many other key figures in town were leaned on for facts, figures, information, or special access. And in no particular order, the troop offers their special thanks to St. Vincent Martyr, Monsignor Father George Hunt, Borough Administrator Ray Cody, the Venerable Jim Burnett, Borough Engineer Bob Vogel, Fire Chief Lou DeRosa, firefighters Robert Dunn and Tom Boylan for the Jaws of Life demonstration, Superintendent of Madison Chatham Joint Meeting Chris Manick, Electrical Superintendent Jim Mattina, Electrical Foreman Dave Arteglair, and Lineman Joel Phillips, Department of Public Works Superintendent Ken O'Brien, Director of Technology Jim Sanderson, Building Code Official Russ Brown, and all the technical assistants, including Amy Greeley, Lisa Quinn, and Haley Hazen, the Crimmins family for the opportunity to visit the Luke Miller house, my beautiful bride, Katie, for lending an ear and offering sage advice, both my sons, Kyler and Connor, whose good nature shone throughout the trek and inspired these younger scouts, and last but surely not least, Madison Historical Society custodian and treasurer Kate and Jim Malcolm for their time, insight, and photographs of Madison from yesteryear. They say it takes a village, well, sometimes even a borough. Accept our sincere gratitude if you were part of this curious knowledge path and were failed to be mentioned. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for taking the time to share the appreciation. Great. It sounds like it was a great event and program. So, and thank you for all your volunteer work. I'll bring up Claire Whitcomb.
Hi, thank you. I'm Claire Whitcomb, 12 Fairwood Road. I just have a question about the $110,000 that's going for a basketball pickleball court at Memorial Park. Will this be open to all Madison residents, or will you need to be a member of the pool to do this? And that's my question.
Thank you, Claire. And what we'll do is I've captured that question. When this is introduced under the discussion, we'll make sure we answer that question.
I couldn't
muted,
hear
ma'am.
Mayor Bob, but I saw that I was requested to unmute. This
Oh,
is
yeah,
Kathleen.
sorry, I guess
Cacavalli,
I got my space bar mixed up there. So yes,
82 Central Avenue again. I'm also commenting on Ordinance 29, 2021. I was just curious for clarification, the General Capital Improvement Fund rather than the Open Space Fund. I wonder if a needs assessment had been done before this ordinance was introduced. I looked at the ecological significance of the park and that area in particular, and that area is less high rated than some other areas of the park, but it is in headwaters, active river area, and it would, I assume, require additional impervious cover. So I'm wondering if the plans include any mitigation for that by putting some green infrastructure concept design somewhere else in the park, or addressing some need in the park from a green infrastructure perspective that would mitigate the additional impervious cover in a parkland.
We'll try to address that also in the comments. I don't know if we'll have that information at this point, but thank you for the questions.
You're muted,
You're
Mayor.
muted.
I'm new at this job. Sorry. Anyone else wishing to comment on any topic? It's your last chance to raise your hand. I hereby close the invitation for discussion, and we now move on to introduction of ordinances. Will the clerk please read the statement?
The ordinance is scheduled for first reading, have a hearing date set for June the 28th, 2021. All will be published in the Madison Eagle, posted on the bulletin board, and made available to members of the public requesting copies.
I call up ordinances first reading and ask the borough clerk to read said ordinances by title. Ordinance 27-2021.
Ordinance of the Borough of Madison appropriating $365,250 from the General Capital Improvement Fund for renovation and restoration of the Harley Dodge Memorial Plaza.
Mayor, I move ordinance 27-2021.
Second.
Council discussion.
Still muted, Mayor.
All right, I'm just switching to permanent on mute. Sorry. Any council discussion? A roll call vote, please.
Ms. Bailey,
Yes.
Ms. Byrne,
Yes.
Mr. Hoover,
Yes.
Ms. Cohen,
Yes.
Ms. Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mr. Landrigan.
yes,
All right, ordinance 28-2021.
Ordinance of the Borough of Madison amending Chapter 195 of the Borough Code entitled Land Development to permit multifamily residential use in the U zone.
Mayor, I move ordinance
Reversed.
28-2021.
Second.
All right, as I stated before, this is related to Copper Beach, as may be aware that Drew, besides their campus, has owned other land in and around their the overall campus. All have been separate lots. All have been in actually different zones. Copper Beach is part of the university zone, so it is a 100% residential area. It is a separate lot. So this addresses that lot in particular, and the puts in a zone that will match what is there today. Any other further development in that zone would require an application and review by land use boards. And this also leaves the full campus as their other major lot in the university zone and regulated by university zone. Any other further discussion? Okay, and after the introduction, this would go to the planning board for their review with consistency with the master plan, which they meet tomorrow night and would come back with a hearing next week or in 2 weeks as announced. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Bailey,
Yes.
Ms. Byrne,
Yes.
Mr. Hoover,
Yes.
Ms. Cohen,
Under advisement of Borough Council, I am abstaining as my husband's an employee.
Ms. Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mr. Landrigan.
yes,
Yes, no?
yes.
Yes, we got a yes there. Yes. So 5 yeses, 1 abstention.
Right.
Ordinance 29-2021.
Ordinance of the Borough of Madison appropriating $110,000 from the General Capital Improvement Fund. Are we good? Okay. Ordinance of the Borough of Madison appropriating $110,000 from the General Capital Improvement Fund for a basketball pickleball court at Memorial Park.
Mayor, I move ordinance 29-2021.
Second.
And to start off the discussion, Jim Burnett has come on screen. I think he can share some background, and we can also, from the council members, have additional discussion and background.
Thank you, Mayor. In regards to some of the questions, I'll show a map in a few minutes. This is general capital funding for a basketball court. There's been a significant need for additional basketball courts, especially ones that could be used in the evening. And this was determined to be an appropriate spot. There's already a partially paved area. Thought process is that it would also help the pool participants could use it. It would be accessed from outside, though it would be open to the public. And Mayor, I think you living down the street from Dodge Field could probably attest to how active that particular set of basketball courts is. And so that's in that regard. Let me share an image if I could. Where is it? Bear with me here. I had it a minute ago and now I don't have it. Okay, I apologize. Why is it not showing? I apologize, Mayor. Here we go. Let's see. Hopefully everybody can see this. clearly pretty obvious where the pool is. This is the parking lot area. This is the area, I don't know if you can see my little dot of a mouse moving around there or not. I hope you can. That's an area that's paved. This is the approximate location. The fencing would be moved and the entire basketball court would be put in fencing. There would be fencing on this side as well, going around the pool sides. The pool has agreed to yield some of their space because this is a logical location that will benefit from them, can be tapped into nearby electric for some courtesy and security lighting close to the parking lot. There are no trees that need to be taken down, so there's no concern for that, no clearing needed, and there's already a portion of it is impervious coverage already. So the thought process was that this was part of a three-phased approach that was requested and sent to open space. I've been working with Council President Bailey and with Austria Bailey, along with Mayor Conley, in regard to working on a three-pronged approach of improving drainage here, the potential for pickleball courts, which is not being discussed this evening and which is a separate project, and then we bifurcated this. The drainage has already been improved. There was some significant pooling and problems with water here because there's a drain that was not working and operating properly. So that was restored and repaired. This would be macadam for this pickleball and basketball court that will be placed here. And then fenced in the third, as I said before, project that's not under discussion or under funding request would be for a potential paddleball court that would be there. I know that Councilman Hoover has been helpful in talking and having conversations about this particular project and other projects at the Recreation Advisory Committee. So I appreciate his help with that. And what we're asking for this evening is to just advance a funding ordinance. It's just an introduction. There can be a hearing with additional conversation and discussion in a couple of weeks. Beyond that, we're going to obviously then work towards contracting, and the elected officials in the governing body would receive a contract for your consideration to advance the project. And finally, we're going to have to work with the pool on a slight modification of their lease, so we can make sure we codify and understand the rules of this. One important thing to note is we're going to have some pretty high fencing and or netting above here, because as Mayor Conley knows, sometimes the basketballs at Dodge Field end up on Greenwood Avenue or on Britton Street. And if a basketball were to be here and would end up in the pool, that would be problematic. We don't want anybody trying to jump a fence and get to the pool property.
Thank you, Jim. And just to reinforce that right now, this is fully located within the current lease area for the Madison Community Pool.
You're muted.
You're muted, Bob.
I was unmuted. I must have hit a wrong button. Let me try it again. I said some of the best words of my life right there. So just to reinforce what Jim said, this area is within the current leased area of the Madison Community Pool. But the lease agreement would have to be revised. That will be coming back to us at a future date, because this will be a shared area in response to the question, who gets to use this. This would be open to the public. The proposal is that it would be limited to pool member use during pool hours and open to public during all other hours. There is an existing kind of a half court right there, so that gets paved over. This creates something that is very similar to the Dodge Field one, with two side-by-side full courts. And yes, as someone that lives across from Dodge Field, I can say that Dodge Field is very busy in the afternoon, evening hours with basketball, especially this time of year. And then there's organized basketball in the summer with leagues going on, and so that could be expanded. Pickleball has now even expanded the use time for the courts, where like a Sunday morning, they would be idle and now are being used by adults playing pickleball. So as Jim noted, there'll be more conversations related to the actual logistics and the lease agreement. Any other comments or Deb?
Just a question, and this, there may not be an answer till the, but just so it's out there. Where are we adding lights so it can be used at night? Is one question. The second question is who's responsible? I know that, to be honest, Dodge Field has been a hot mess lately. Unfortunately, people aren't using the trash cans. And so that's something we need to work on in general in the borough, but is the pool responsible for making sure it stays clean? Is the borough responsible for making sure it stays clean? What happens to access when the pool is closed, as far as, again, the lights and safety going in and out? And if those need for 2 weeks, I can write them down and ask in 2 weeks.
I think we can probably address some of these pretty quickly. It is very disappointing to see the trash at Dodge Field on a daily basis. One of the things I have requested, and we're looking into it as our camera setup is expanded, is to actually put cameras out there so that we can start tracing who is doing that. We need to respect our facilities no matter who is using it. Right now, the plans are for a fairly basic lighting, which you can get away with for basketball. That would be done in-house. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, on that, but I think we have the Musco high-end lights at Dodge Field, which are far more expensive, and maybe a later phase. You're doing a baseball field lighting is far more complicated than it is with basketball. So that can be done in-house, and we'll probably have a similar setup with Dodge Field, where there's they are turned on manually, but there's a timer that shuts them off. So they're not on when they don't need to be, and they're off when they have to be. And I forgot to write down. Did I capture everything you asked there, Dave?
Well, who's responsible for cleanup or maintenance? I assume that's us.
I would say stay tuned, but it would, certainly I would assume that the lease agreement would probably state that if let's say we proceed with the idea that is exclusive for the pool membership during those hours, a pool would probably be responsible for maintaining the cleanliness of the courts, and then the borough on other hours. But that's one of these things to capture, and that's a good point to bring up. So as you just saw Jim nod his head, we'll make sure that's clear. Rachel?
What's good, Mayor, if I could just jump on that, is the pool already has security cameras right there. So knowing Ed Nunn as president of the pool board, I'm sure he will work with us and make sure that A, it's clean, and B, that we make sure we monitor the use and continue to encourage people to take care of it. But yes, it's extremely disappointing what's going on at Dodge Field right now.
And Rachel.
So just to clarify my understanding of the program and the scope, pickleball and basketball can be played on the same court with different striping, and they're perfectly compatible. And then so with the contemplating a future additional use of paddle tennis, is that also on the same paved area, or would that be a subsequent court added either within the fenced area or beyond the fenced area?
That would be a completely separate project. The discussions have been putting that on the parking area between the pool and the dog park. So it'd be over current impervious surface, but it is a far different use. You actually have fencing on individual courts. It is a special sort of platform it's played on. It's not played on hard top and so on. So
okay. Thanks for clarifying.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Someone's muting as I'm unmuting. Okay. Roll call vote. Ms. Bailey?
Yes.
Ms. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Hoover?
Yes.
Ms. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Landrigan?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And this is a muting challenged evening, so we apologize.
Yes.
Consent agenda resolutions. Will the clerk please read the statement?
Consent agenda resolutions will be enacted with a single motion. Any resolution requiring expenditure is supported by a certification of availability of funds. Any resolution requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda. All resolutions will be reflected in full in the minutes.
Mayor, I move resolution 160-2021 to 164-2021, and then resolution 166-2021 to resolution 178-2021.
Second,
Any council discussion or any that need to be pulled? Deb?
Mayor, I need to abstain from that one resolution. Do we need to pull it for me to abstain
No,
or?
you can just, on your vote, just note that one. And again, that's related to Drew University. And Oster will be abstaining from 178 as a board member of the YMCA. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Bailey,
yes to all but abstain from R 178, 2021.
Ms. Byrne,
Yes.
Mr. Hoover,
Yes.
Ms. Cohen,
Yes, except abstain from R 162-2021.
Ms. Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mr. Landrigan.
Yes.
All right, there is no unfinished business. Approval of vouchers. Will the clerk please read the voucher totals?
Yes, for the current fund, we have $550,000, $550,928.72. For the general capital fund, $360,893.50. For the electric operating fund, $143,582.24. For the electric capital fund, $27,604.45. The water operating fund, $14,346.82, and the trust, $309,252.33. The total is $1,406,608.06.
Mayor, I move approval of the vouchers.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Bailey,
Yes.
Ms. Byrne,
Yes.
Mr. Hoover,
Yes.
Ms. Cohen,
Yes.
Ms. Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mr. Landrigan.
Yes.
All right, there is no new business. Mr. Landrigan,
Mayor, I move that we adjourn.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all, and I will now mute myself. Take care. Have a good evening all. Take care.
Good night.